Mm. A wonderful, wonderful good evening and heartfelt welcome to Brandon's Discovery Session, where we're learning what the body is trying to tell us. And so every month we have a specific session where Brandon comes live, where she takes us through some exercises, some guided introspections, where we can kind of befriend our emotions and the way our body is trying to talk to us. And I'm delighted to see so many people from all across Europe at the moment and probably even further afield. I can't see where everybody's coming from unless they say hi from, but I've seen Denmark, I've seen Sweden, I've seen Netherlands, I've seen Poland, I've seen Estonia, I've seen all across Europe. So a heartfelt welcome to this and from Australia. To this very, very special evening session here in Europe. Brandon is actually calling in from Greece. I saw somebody just from Utah. My goodness gracious, we're really, really covering the globe here today. What a wonderful occasion that is. And without further ado, before I welcome Brandon on to join me here, I just wanted to say something that we actually have a very, very special gift for one person here. And that is a draw of a free place at the Journey Intensive for someone if you stay until the very end. So we're choosing from our list of participants, and the lucky winner will be announced at the end of this session. We usually take about 50 to 60 minutes for that. And it's something that is really a beautiful discovery, coming home inside yourself and uncovering what's going on for you. So please, let's welcome Brandon and give her a warm applause for this very special discovery session today. Thank you, Brandon.
Well, a heartfelt welcome to everyone. And I'm always so thrilled to do these monthly discovery sessions, because what I love is I hear from you what's been going on in your life and some of the issues that are coming up. And so I can tailor the event entirely to you so that it's personal to all of us joining. And for those that you wrote in, and someone was sharing that she'd been dealing and coping with depression, and she's been waking up to all the traumas that have, after she, finished with depression in 2012, she's been waking up to all the traumas that were stored inside of her. And another woman shared that she recently lost several of her loved ones and family to death, and they passed away. And not long after that, she ended up with stage 4 breast cancer. And so really wanted to get to what was emotionally co-creating the illness. Yet another person wrote in about fibromyalgia, and another one about arthritis and pains in knees and ankles and all the joints, and autoimmune disease. And so we're going to be more focused this evening, not just on the emotional things, because one woman, she wrote in and said that I feel like I'm holding myself back in life. Whenever I get an opportunity and something's able to finally let my potential shine, I'm sabotaging myself. And so she's aware that even though there's nothing physically wrong with her, that somehow there's this silent saboteur inside of her that is closing her down just when her potential is coming out. And there's a reason all of us are writing in, be it physical issues, emotional issues, mental issues. It's because of what science has been telling us about what goes on with emotions and our bodies. And one of the things that science has unequivocally established, that when you feel a strong emotion and you repress it, it releases a quantifiable biochemistry into the bloodstream, which will go to certain cell receptors and block those cells, rendering those cells incapable of communicating with the rest of the cells in the body. And if over time illness happens, well, of course, it happens in the region where the cells are blocked. And conversely, also what's known to be true is when we feel our emotions very naturally and openly, like a child does, our cell receptors remain open. So they've established that there is very much a corollary a corollary between shutting down our emotions and them, that programming, that consciousness getting stored in our cells. And the journey, the method that was born from my own experience from healing from a basketball-sized tumor in only 6.5 weeks' time without medical intervention, was first born from my own experience. And what happened in 1992, I was diagnosed, even though I'd been in the field of personal growth, complementary medicine, I mean, certified in so many areas of wellness and complementary medicine. And I was living, walking my talk and living that experience of eating healthily, working out, meditating every day. And not only that, but I was in a marriage I felt myself to be deeply graced and blessed to be in. And so you could say that I was at a peak of my life and I was living my full potential. And the last thing I ever expected to have happen was to end up being diagnosed with this huge tumor. And it really sent me reeling. And it catapulted me on this soul-searching healing journey where I kind of had to throw everything I knew about health out the window, everything I knew about healing, all of it out the window. And I was guided on my own download from grace, if you could put it that way, to discover what are called cell memories inside the body. And what science knew at that time, and I was so grateful for all the work going on in the field of cellular healing, is that not only did, when we repressed emotions, did it release that biochemistry into our bloodstream, which blocked particular cell receptors in a particular part of our body. But when that cell generation died, it passed on the programming, the consciousness, the pain, the unspoken words, everything that was going on at the time that you repressed it. All that programming got passed on to the next cell generation. And so the next cell generation was born as an exact replica of the previous cell generation. As a matter of fact, when I got in to see the doctor and she did all the exams, she said this probably started as one cell when you were 8 years old. And it was only for the months right before I got to the doctor that they started replicating exponentially. And by the time I got to her, I went from being my tummy just a little bit, fuller to looking like I was 6 months pregnant, though I knew that that wasn't the case. And so there was a lot of work going on in the field of cellular healing. But even though there was all this work going on, no one had given us a method. But there was one man, Dr. Deepak Chopra, who had decided to do a radical thing. Now, he was a chief medical officer for a hospital in Boston. And what he decided to do was to amass case studies of people who had healed without drugs or surgery, who had spontaneously healed, that's the medical term, without any drugs or surgery, without any medical intervention. He said, we know enough about what makes people sick and die. He said, I want to know what makes them heal against the odds without any intervention. And after amassing hundreds and then ultimately thousands of case studies, he could find that people who had healed without drugs or surgery had two things in common. One was that through some act of grace or spontaneous event, they actually got access to this that he called the infinite intelligence, the part of you that makes your heart beat, your eyes shine, your hair grow, your cells replicate. And the second thing that they had in common was through some act of grace or spontaneous event, they actually got access to what he called at that time the cell memories. And if somehow they were guided by the infinite intelligence to a specific cellular location and somehow spontaneously got access to that consciousness that was stored in the cells, somehow spontaneously released it, Then when the new cells were born, they were born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. Now, I knew all that. I'd studied with everyone. I was at the cutting edge of what was happening in the field of wellness and complementary medicine. At that time, I was actually giving the Living Health program for Tony Robbins, so teaching tens of thousands of people around the world how to create radiant health. And I was living, breathing, doing all the work that was available at that time. And yet, with all the research going on, no one had given us a method. And part of the huge gift of grace that my own healing journey is I was guided to uncover a way for all of us to get access to this vast field of peace, of love, the pure awareness, this infinite intelligence that is your own soul, that is your essence, and to be guided by that infinite intelligence to specific cellular locations to uncover these old repressed cell memories and go through a deep process of release and letting go, actually understanding what's happened to you in your life and coming to a place of profound forgiveness where you're forgiving life, God, other people who may have been involved in it, forgiving yourself, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. And so that was my own healing journey. And when I got into hospital 6.5 weeks later, and they did all the scans, I was pronounced textbook perfect clean, no tumor. And part of my own healing journey lay in finding a way to bring this work to the world. And here we are 30 years later, right? And I'm so joyous to know that it's being used by doctors and medical hospitals. When I first started offering the journey, it was in cancer centers because they were using the journey to get to the emotional corollary of what co-created the illness in the first place. And right now, even as I speak, there are 3 hospitals in Israel where after you've gone through heart surgery, you go into a recovery center where then you undergo the journey method in a week's recovery to uncover what co-created that illness in the first place, so it doesn't show up later and the same thing come back, because you didn't find the emotional reason why it got created in the first place. And the same is true for the oncology unit in another hospital. And again, after you've undergone whatever treatment has been prescribed, you're welcomed into the recovery center. And they found that people go into remission and stay in remission. They did hundreds of case studies over the years, and they're astounded at the results of how people don't have to go through that whole healing process again. Same with multiple sclerosis. And so they're really getting to what's co-creating the illness in the first place. So many of you wrote in about that you have these illnesses or emotional issues, and you're aware they're operating, and that you're really longing to get to the emotional root cause of what is contributing to the illness. And one of the things that we've learned in life is that not only do these emotions get stuck in our cells, but that life triggers us. So I've been finding that as we've had the pandemic, Ukraine war, all the polarization going on in politics, vaccine, arguments, on and on, it just seems like the whole world has been in turmoil for these last many years, and it's been driving to the surface all these unmet issues, and people are longing to find a way to really come to a place of peace inside themselves. And so the journey method is known both for taking you on a journey inside to get to the peace inside and to clear whatever emotional blocks, whatever old trauma is here, whatever stress is shutting you down, whatever lids of depression you've put on yourself, so that this radiant peace, this love that is your essence, can finally live your life. You know, I was reminded the other day, I was riding in the car with a friend, and another driver cut them off in traffic. And out of nowhere, all this rage came up, this road rage came up. And, you know, I thought to myself, well, that driver didn't put the rage inside my friend. My friend already had the rage stored inside the cells. All that driver did was push his buttons, and boom, up came the road rage. And all of us have been like this, that we keep getting triggered, and these deeply buried emotional issues that are stored actually inside of our body, physiologically, are being triggered and they're coming up. And so we're looking for some way to become free and find ourselves back home to a sense of peace inside. And so if I had to describe in a nutshell, what is the journey method, really? The best way I could describe it is in a metaphor, to say that we, all of us, come into this world as this radiant, shining diamond, as a vast presence of peace, of oneness, where we actually feel ourselves be part of and in everything. As a matter of fact, what science has found, when an infant is born, and in the first hours and weeks of its life, the young infant feels itself to be a field of awareness, of love, that's pervading all of existence. And when mother's hand comes before that infant's eyes, the infant actually feels mother's hand as part of itself. That's how vast this vast field of love is that you came in as. But unfortunately, through the natural course of life's pains and trials, this radiant, enlightened awareness that you came in as, it gets covered over with a series of lies and limitations and traumas and shutdowns and emotional blocks and negative beliefs. And when we get to be adults, we cover this whole mess of all the layers of shutdowns up with this bright, shiny, polished veneer that we present to the world, where we're saying, no, I've got it handled. I'm an adult. You can rely on me. I'm reliable, dependable. And then we wonder why it is everyone thinks we're so full of, well, you can answer that question. And then if you get to be very lucky, life gives you a wake-up call. Now, for many of us, it came in the form of a pandemic and the lockdowns, the loss of jobs, the divorces that took place during the pandemic, the loss of friendships, the polarity that happened in families, having to homeschool children when you had a full-time job, not being able to go to work because your business was locked down, on and on. And we, all of us, were in this melting pot. And then on top of that, Ukraine war, and then this, all the mega fires and floods and climate change that's been of a biblical proportion around the world. And we got a wake-up call. And what happens with the journey, something cracks through this phony mask that we've been presenting to the world. And we end up spontaneously opening down through the layers of the pain and the shutdowns and the traumas and the negativities. And spontaneously we open into this vast field of love, of pure awareness, this oneness. And you realize it's been there all along. Only, like me, you bought into the layers that covered it. So it can be something very simple, that you're like 3 years old. And your mother says, come on, we got to dry your tears. We've got to get to nursery school. And the little 3-year-old you gets it, oh, I'm not allowed to feel, at least not those feelings that have the tears. And the first involuntary shutdown happens. It's automatic. You start shutting down one emotion, and it starts shutting down all emotions. I can remember when I was 8 years old, and we had a very domestically challenged household growing up, a lot of brutal violence and abuse. And part of the way I used to escape was into my children's books. So I love to read. And of course, I became a good reader and a good speller, and I got chosen to represent the third graders in my elementary school. And we were having a county-wide big spelling bee in a stadium where all the schools were coming together, and all the teachers and all the parents and all the students were there. And I was standing on stage, and I was representing our school as the third graders. And I'd already spelled 3 difficult words. And then they gave me one of the easiest words in the English language, the word fleet. Well, no one had I'd never even seen that. No one had written about it in any of my children's books. But I had seen the word flea, an insect. And I stood there and I said, F-L-E-A-T. And the whole audience was hushed. And all at once, it erupted into laughter. Now, no one had given me a manual. How do you deal with mass humiliation in front of your friends and the parents and the students and the teachers? And I looked to my mom, who was sitting in the 3rd row, for her support. And she looked at me as if I was the greatest disappointment in her life, and just shook her head and went, and internally, it was like this huge wall just came slamming down inside of me. And I went to go to the back of the stage to sit with the other losers. And that day I decided I'm so stupid that I'm just a laughing stock. I'll never be good at anything I do. I'll never be competent. I'll never succeed at anything. I'm just a laughing stock. And it's like this, layer upon layer of shutdowns. I can remember when I was 16 years old, I fell in love with this guy. I got my first crush. And I tried to impress him. And well, you know how that went. And I made a total out and out fool of myself. And I actually watched the first love in my life running out of my life. And I was running after him. And of course, that day, I decided I'm so unattractive. I'll never attract someone I'm attracted to. I'm just not lovable. I don't deserve to be loved. And it's like this, layer upon layer of shutdowns. And then when we get to be adults, we've learned how to cover it all over with this, polished mask we present to the world. And then if you get to be very lucky, life gives you a wake-up call. And it comes in the many forms I spoke about before. In my case, it came in the form of a serious illness, where for once you crack through this hardened veneer and spontaneously you open down through the pain, the shutdowns, the limitations, the traumas, and spontaneously you open into this infinite field of pure awareness, of pure love that you came in as. And it's at that deepest level, at the level of the soul, that you turn the flashlight on inside, the torch on inside, and you're guided by your own soul to go on a journey inside the body, to uncover specific cell memories. And you end up in a very natural, gentle way, opening up into the consciousness that you had at that time, into the pain that happened in that cell memory, releasing that stored pain, letting go the buried words that you couldn't speak at the time, the actions that you could, just releasing it all and coming to an understanding of what took place in your life, and ultimately forgiveness. And something magical happens when you forgive. It's almost that you're communicating to the universe and definitely to your own soul, I'm ready to let go. This entire story of pain. And when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. And so even though I would love to take you through the entire journey process, I can't do. That's a 3-day immersive retreat that you can do around the world here online, where you really roll up your sleeves and dive in and experience this work with the help of journey practitioners and who create a beautiful embrace for you for that 3-day retreat. But I would love tonight to take you through into a process where we begin to open the door to befriending our emotions, as Gabby said, to really welcoming them. You know, the truth of the matter is, most of us as human beings, when the emotions are uncomfortable, we've learned how to avoid them. We smoke them away. We drink them away. We get on Netflix. We get surfing the web. We get onto our puzzles or our word puzzles that are happening on the web. We call a friend. We go to the movies. Anything to avoid feeling that bad emotion. And yet, the craziest thing is that so-called bad emotion that you're avoiding your whole life is the gateway to your own soul. And so in the journey, what we've learned to do is befriend our emotions, to welcome them, to be allowed to come up, to really listen to our bodies. And what I've discovered, you know, in the nearly 30 years of offering this work around the world in the 39 countries that we've taken our seminars in, and in the 23 languages, it's been translated in my books. I have 5 books and they've been translated into 23 languages. And so in doing this work, I've realized that one of the very first steps that we need to take is taking baby steps towards learning how to welcome our emotions. So I thought it'd be beautiful, just as a divine experiment. If you'd like to join me, let's open the door to that. And just see how we can begin listening to our body instead of running away from what our body is trying to tell us. Instead, saying yes to our bodies and being willing to listen to our bodies. So if you'd like to join me, let's all of us together take a nice deep breath in, letting it out, and closing your eyes, and taking a deep breath in of openness and breathing that into the room. And a deep breath in of the willingness to listen to your body and open with it, and breathing that into the room. Trust. Trust in yourself, trust in life, trust in your soul's prayer that it's time now to come home, that it's time now to clear whatever blocks you or lids you or shuts you down on any level of being, so that this radiant presence that you came in as can live your life. And so breathing trust in yourself, in your own soul, It's your own soul that brought you here. It's your own soul that's calling you home. Breathing that into the room. And now letting your heart be as wide as the world. Wide enough to welcome all of the feelings, the emotions that live inside of you. That's how vast this vast, infinite field of all acceptance is. And it's spacious, vast, free, and endless in front of you. It's boundlessly spacious and free behind. It's endlessly free and spacious, all sides of you. Boundless below, sky-like above. We're just resting now in a vast open sky of all acceptance. Now turning your gaze inside the body. And you know this already, that your body is like this container full of all kinds of emotions. And our feelings, they're kind of like little kids. Some of our feelings, they're loud and attention seeking. Some of our feelings are shy and they're kind of scared of us. And some of your emotions, you've rejected them so many times that they don't trust you anymore. They hide underneath lids or behind closed doors. And so welcoming all the feelings that live here inside of you. And you might even say you're sorry for having pushed them away and rejected them so many times. And now locating a part of your body where there may be a little tension or stress or holding or hiding going on. Locating that part of the body right now. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance. Just letting it soften and open. And if there were feelings starting to rise out of this part of the body, it may be very quiet, maybe as subtle as a whisper. I wonder what that feeling might be. Or if this part of the body could speak and had words, what would it say? And as you listen to the words, how do they make you feel emotionally? If it could speak and you gave it a voice, what would the body say to you right now? And as you listen, how does it make you feel emotionally? Or perhaps a picture is arising. If there is a picture just showing up out of nowhere, step into it. How are you feeling in this picture? Or perhaps there's a lid over something, some sort of covering that's covering up something hidden underneath it. If there is, like peeling back the lid off a can of peanuts. Right now, take hold of this lid and lift it off. What's hiding here? Just take hold of the lid and lift it off. What's hiding here? How does it make you feel emotionally? Welcoming what's ever here and also whatever's not here. Taking in a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding this area with acceptance right now. And coming to neutral inside of yourself. And finding a different area of your body where there may be a little tension or stress or holding or hiding or some sort of contraction. Just locate that area of the body right now. And now take a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance, letting it soften and be marinated and tenderized and opened. And if there were a feeling beginning to arise out of this area, I wonder what that feeling might be. And if it could speak and had words, just give it a voice right now. What would it say? As you listen to the words, how do they make you feel emotionally? Or perhaps there is a picture somewhere. If there is, step into it. How are you feeling in that picture? Or perhaps there's a lid somewhere, some sort of covering, or something's hiding from you. If there is, take hold of that lid. Lift it off now. What's hiding here? Welcoming whatever's here and whatever's not here. Just taking a deep breath in of acceptance. Flooding that area with acceptance. Coming to neutral inside of yourself. And finding yet a third part of your body where there may be a little tension or stress or holding or contraction going on. Just locate that area right now. Take a deep breath in of acceptance. Flooding that area with acceptance. And let it soften and open up and be tenderized. And if there were a feeling just beginning to bubble up out of that area, I wonder what that feeling might be. Might be as quiet as a whisper. Just welcoming it. If it could speak and had words, what would it say right now? And as you listen to those words, how do they make you feel emotionally? Or perhaps there's a door somewhere that you've kind of locked everything behind. If that's the case, find the key, turn the door handle and open the door. What's hiding there? And as you open with what's there, how does it make you feel emotionally? Welcoming whatever's here and whatever's not here. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance. Coming to neutral. And then, if it feels appropriate, you might want to say to your body that from now on, you're going to begin this journey of starting to listen to your body, to welcome and allow the emotions that are here and listen to what the body has to tell you. So if it feels appropriate, you might like to make a promise to your body that you're going to begin this journey of inner listening to yourself. And taking a deep breath in of acceptance. And once again, letting your heart be as wide as the world. It's vast and open, spacious in front of you, free and endless behind you, and infinite to all sides of you. Boundless below, sky-like above. Just resting here in this vast field. Presence. Taking a nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And you can open your eyes now into this presence. Eyes open or eyes closed. Same. One awareness. And so this is the way we begin to listen to ourselves, to begin this journey, taking baby steps towards going on our journey to accept and welcome what's here and listen to what the body has to tell us. And I just wanted to ask, some of you may have uncovered some deep emotions here, and you're welcome to write them into the chat box. And Gabby, the managing director for the Journey Worldwide, she'll share with all of us some of the deep feelings that may have arisen for you. And if, many of us, we've buried these feelings for so long, and they're already beginning to do their dirty work, and they're stored in our cells. So this is a beautiful way to begin this journey of opening to what our body has to tell us. And so if anybody's shared any of the feelings that are arising for them in the chat box, that would be wonderful, Gabby.
I've had somebody had helplessness come up, floods of sadness, fear, wanting to run and hide. My body in several locations said they feel pain. Somebody was released and free, and someone else came up with worthlessness, powerlessness, abandonment.
Yeah.
So the message is just...
These are very strong and very deep emotions that are arising here. And I really do feel it's an invitation, not from me, but from your own soul, that it's time to come home. And my real prayer for everyone here is that you use tonight's discovery session as a wake-up call, and that you honor the truth inside of yourself enough to want to begin your journey, to uncover this vast field of enlightened awareness that is your own essence, and to be guided by your own soul on the journey to discover actually what's stored inside your cells and go through this deep process of release and letting go and forgiveness, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of this old consciousness as new regenerative cells. And so I pray for you that you'll not ignore what your body is revealing to you, and instead that you'll heed the call to begin this process of inner listening. And I'm so grateful. There's one thing that, this whole COVID pandemic gave to us, and it's that we're able to do this online with all of you. And it used to be that I'd travel to all the 39 countries, and you could only afford to get there if you could fly in and pay to stay at a hotel and take the seminar. But now, these days, they're happening in countries all over the world, and you're able to take them in the comfort of your own home and in the safety of that. And what happens at the Journey Intensive, it's really a deep dive where in the mornings I'm teaching you all the teachings, the work, taking you through various processes. And in the afternoons, you partner up with another delegate and you go into a private breakout room where you actually do the emotional journey on the first day, the physical journey on cellular healing on the second day, and then the advanced skills on the third day. And you have there, holding the embrace, a team of journey practitioners who've been through a year-long of training with me, 6 different courses, and many have completed 45 case studies. And so there's a level of depth and expertise and love supporting you. And so if you have anything coming up for you that you're not sure how to handle, you raise your hand, and immediately a journey practitioner who speaks your language will go into your breakout room and support you, hold a beautiful, expert and experienced, loving embrace for you to have the deepest experience. It's my prayer that you not just leave the Journey Intensive feeling washed clean and like you've taken the lampshade off your light, but that you take this work and you give it away to your children, to your loved ones, and you continue your journey. And while I was on tour, up until COVID, I was teaching 44 weeks out of the year in a different country every week. And every time before I stepped on stage, I had a journey process. I never wanted to be so arrogant as to think I've got it all handled. I know there's more than one emotional issue stored inside this body, more than one cell memory. And I feel it's a privilege to clear whatever might block me, obscure me, hold me back, limit me in any way, so that this joy, this love, this freedom that is my own essence can live my life. And so this is my prayer, that I called it the journey because it's not like you do one process and you're fixed for life. It's a lifetime of a love affair with your own self, with your soul, and a listening to clearing whatever your soul wants you to face and clear, so that this radiant, shining presence that is your essence can authentically live your life. And so my prayer for you is just listen to the call home. And Gabby's here, and she can share with you the upcoming Journey Intensives, where they're happening around the world. And they've done this amazing thing. Even at the beginning of the journey, 28 years ago when I started first giving them in person, because of the COVID, the whole thing that happened with COVID, and we were aware that the world really needed this work, they've reduced the price of it for the virtual journey online to be about 1/3 of what it started out as. And so it's our way of serving life and making it available to you at a price that's incredibly affordable. And so it's an investment you make in yourself because you really want to be free. And so I'm going to turn you over to Gabby, and she can share with you where they're happening and how to also, if your heart isn't yet clear, if this work is for you, then you can get on a chat with one of our journey practitioners or one of our team, and just ask whatever questions you need to ask so you can get clear, because this is not work for people of casual interest. This is work for people who have a deep prayer to come home to the truth of who they are and to truly heal their lives. And so this takes on your part, a willingness to roll up your sleeves and dive in. And so you may have questions about it. And so I'll pass you over to Gabby and she can share with you. And I pray I'll see you online and that together we'll dive in deeper into the infinite love that is your essence. And so a heartfelt namaste to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brandon, for this beautiful discovery session. And I'm aware, I've been watching the comments coming in after people shared some of their emotions coming up, and even realizations by just being present, even realizations coming up in that little process, you know. So this is only just a tiny, tiny little toe dip, a kind of taster of what we can do. But during the Journey Intensive, you actually clear these issues out from the root, and that's the greatest gift. I kind of forgot to introduce myself at the beginning today. I've been with Brandon coming up to, oh my God, 27 years now. And so I have witnessed and seen the most amazing transformations in people's lives. I have watched our practitioners go through the programs. I've also been very, very instrumental in creating the online programs that have started when we needed to go online. And one thing that I have realized is that the power and the depth of our online delivery is equally as strong as it has been in a live seminar room. So everything that you would expect to get in a room with Brandon, you can get from the comfort of your own home. So you're saving yourself travel fees, you're saving yourself hotel fees. And in this format, we were able to offer a special reduction as well. It's not going to last forever, so please don't wait. It's 147 euros right now, and that's maybe 1 or 2 more months through the summer, and then we need to get our prices back up a little bit more come the autumn. So please, if there's something calling you from your heart, I can only recommend and urge you to book your place. We have events coming up. I'm actually starting one. I'm hosting one with Brandon as the teacher tomorrow on with Hebrew translation. Then we have events in North America in August. We have events in Finland, in Czech Republic, European, Australian, the main events offered with some translations at the end of September. So there is an information page that will tell you every event from now until the end of the year. So just check it through. There will be something in your language. The main ones will offer, I think in the one at the end of September will have French translation. So just check it out. And if you're not sure about something, we do have these so-called clarity calls where some of our team members, you can book a call with them. So if you're not sure if this work is for you, if you can clear a certain issue, you can actually talk to somebody who knows this work, who is familiar with this work. And we've been there, we've seen it all, and we feel so awed and deeply humbled by what is possible. We would love everyone to come. You know, if there was a possibility where every person on planet Earth could come, oh my God, that would be the biggest treat. What would be the biggest treat for everyone? Because so many of the issues, the problems that we're witnessing today, is just because people are not very conscious or are not connected to their heart. They're not connected to their soul. And so it's a smaller percentage of people who are, but let's at least increase it. And maybe you want to be somebody who is part of that percentage, who keeps shining the light, you know, and keeps sowing the seeds of awakening, of healing around the planet together with all of us. That would be our prayer. So I hope you find your way to one of our upcoming next events. I promised a free place at the end of today, and I've been scrolling up and down in the delegates list, and I will let the cursor stop somewhere. Now, I don't know if that person really wants to go. If you don't want to go, then please give your place to somebody. But what you need to do, the June event may not be here anymore because it starts tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. If somebody really wants to do the June event, please write an email now to support@thejourney.com, support@thejourney.com, and let us know. You can still hop on. We're starting tomorrow, 10 o'clock Israel time. It will be taught in English language with Hebrew translation, but it's a midweek event. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's a possibility. And if you are chosen to get a free place at the Journey Intensive, same, I'm asking you to claim your free place from support@thejourney.com. Sarah, who is answering those emails, is here, and she will be delighted to share this ticket with you. So I have Denise O'Connor. That's where my cursor stopped, with scrolling up and down and scrolling up and down. So congratulations, Denise. Maybe you've already done the Journey Intensive. Maybe you can invite somebody, but make good use of this free place and give it to somebody who could really do with this, who really needs this in their life right now. And I know that things are challenging, you know, or life can be challenging at times. And when we come home to ourselves, when we really live from our heart, the challenges outside don't go away, but we respond and we react to them differently. And that's the big difference. And this, what you learn at this particular workshop, is not something that's a one-time do a process. These are tools that can stay with you for the rest of your life. Just like Brandon is still doing process work, I've been doing this work for the last 27 years. And I'm grateful for it every day in my life. There is so much richness in life. There is gratefulness in my life. And I just wish that more people can do it. I'm missing some of the questions that are coming up here. So let me just check some of the latest. Should I write in to get your free spot? So I gave the free spot to Denise. And yes, Denise, please, if you, Denise, if you could just send an email so she can send a confirmation letter to you. So it's like, I don't have anything here to write anything down, and I just want to make sure that you get your place. So if you can send an email, Denise, to support@thejourney.com, then they will automatically book you on at an event that you want to come to that is best for you. We don't know on which time zone you are. And you can choose the event, you can let us know, and then you get a confirmation for that. There should be events in Romanian language, and I don't know when the next one is. I make sure that the team lets us know. But I know that so many of the other languages, German is coming up, I believe, in November, and South Africa also always holds events. So go on that particular landing page that shares all the events with you, and see if you find your language on there. And sometimes it's just translation at the English events that we also offer. So maybe we don't have enough Romanian people to do an event for you, but if we have a number of people, we can definitely offer Romanian language or translation at the next international event, which will be the last weekend in September. So we're having a little summer break for many of the time zones in the world right now, but America still has a midweek event in August, and then Finland is starting right away at the first weekend in September. And then events go all the way through the autumn. So there will be 1 or 2 events every month on different time zones, different languages. And I really hope which page is with the events. It's events.thejourney.com, Journey Intensive Online, the one that's right underneath You, Love and Joy. It's right underneath you. If you click that one, you will see everyone. And our team will send a message to you after this event also and share with you all of the information. Great. So I hope we see you very, very soon. We see you at one of the next Journey Intensives where you can take this work deeper and really take some of the old issues that may have been with you hidden away for a long, long time. And it feels so much freer when they're gone. I can absolutely tell you that. Anyway, lots of love. Many, many thanks for joining us here today. Thank you also to our team who supported here in the background with various translations and answers for the questions that came in. And a special, special thank you to Brandon for hosting this discovery session live for us today. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love. A beautiful day, night, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you are. And until soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.